In this tutorial, we'll cover how to use Live Pitch for instant meetings. The beauty of Live Pitch is it allows you to connect with your customers with one simple link. No more meeting delays due to tech snafus or software download issues. Really simple. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is make sure that the customer has all of the information they need to join your meeting. That's very simple and can be accessed inside of the homepage of your account under Live Pitch Info. There's a button that says Share My Live Pitch Info. If you click on that, you're able to copy and paste the information that it auto-populates into a calendar invite and send that off to the customer. If you'd like to schedule your meeting straight from ClearSlide, you can actually schedule a live pitch using the upcoming live pitch, Create New. I can put in any information that I want, the company, any of the guests, and all of the relevant details about this meeting. So the customer will receive a calendar invite and you will as well. Once the meeting has been scheduled and it's time to actually host the meeting, you'll hop into your ClearSlide account and click Live Pitch. This is going to take you into your live meeting control. So this is essentially where you're going to run the presentation and access your content. So the first thing you'll want to do is queue up the content that you want the customer to see. So this is going to be accessed through this drop-down menu. It's going to tell you to pick a presentation to start with, so we can select the deck that we want to begin with. Once I've queued up my presentation, I'll want to make sure that the customer is with me on my ClearSlide link. So I'll want to make sure that they have this ClearSlide link and that they're actually joining the presentation. So I will check in the upper right-hand corner that I've got one active viewer. If there are multiple customers joining the meeting, you'll see a larger number here. I do have one active viewer, so if I click on details, I can see some details about this customer. I see that they're in Seattle, and I can see that currently I don't have a name here. So if I wanted a name, I can take roll call. So by taking roll call, this is going to ask the customer who's on the link for some basic information. So I'll do a basic email form here. I'll do a name and email only because that's really all I'm worried about. And then I'm going to turn on that roll call form. So then the customer on their end is going to enter their information. And 1 second while they do that. And that information will pop up. So I can see I've got a viewer on here and Brittany has joined. And the other piece of information I can see in details is whether or not the customer is engaged or distracted. So right now I see that the words distracted popped up. What this is telling me is that the customer is not actively looking at my presentation. They're here with me, but they may be doing something else on their computer screen that's making it so that they can't fully see the presentation. So I would do something to get them back engaged, and that distracted will go away. If I want to send instant messages, I have the ability to send quick little messages back and forth to my customers on the meeting, and they're able to do the same with me. So we now know who's on the meeting, the customers are here, my presentation is queued up, so I'm ready to run through the slides. I can use the next and previous buttons up at the top to move through these different pages or slides. And I can use the Select Slide button if I want a more holistic view of my content and want to jump to a specific slide without having to go in order. Now, the nice thing about this Select Slide button is it allows us to jump there without the customer seeing all these options. So it looks very seamless on their end. I've got a draw tool here, which is going to allow me to drop pins and engage with the customer with different tools. So if you're trying to call specific things out in the meeting or you've got specific pointers, you can choose some different options here. Now, if I'm ready to change my presentation or a customer asks a question that's not on the content that I'm currently presenting, I've got access to everything in ClearSlide. So as long as it's in ClearSlide, I can switch the presentation out and go to a new document. If I want to change it again, I've got the ability to do that. So it's tracking the content I'm using, so I don't need to worry about remembering if I want to follow up with that content. All of that will be saved in ClearSlide. So as the meeting's wrapping up, the customers drop off the phone, I'm going to want to end my pitch. So I can click the End Pitch button. That's going to time the presentation out for the customer and tell them that the meeting has ended. Now it's asking me to save my work here, and what it wants us to do is fill out the appropriate information for this meeting. So I'm going to put in the company name here. And as you can see for me, I've got CRM integration set up. So this is actually going to log in my CRM for me as long as I tie it to the right account or opportunity. So I'm going to pick the company I had my meeting with, and I'm going to type in some notes about the call. I see that my active live pitch viewer is listed here. If I had multiple, they'd all be listed out if I had taken roll call. If I hadn't taken roll call and I need to enter them manually, you're able to just enter a specific contact. Looks like it's all filled out, so I can hit Save Pitch Recap, and I can look at an overview of my meeting. So I see that the meeting was 3 minutes, 30 seconds, I covered about 5 slides, and there were 2 viewers on my link. I can see that I went through 3 different pieces of content and which slides I spent the majority of my time on. And then I can see engagement on the customer's end. So since I added Corinne in, she's not showing up here as engaged, but if you look at this, this is more accurate representation of the engagement during this meeting. So it looks like Brittany was engaged 73% of the time. She was really engaged at the beginning. That means that, she was fully clicked into my presentation and looking at it, doing nothing else on her computer. But then she fell into partial engagement, really engaged right here on this pricing sheet. And there was a little more engagement at the end, but nothing too crazy. So this is all really good information for me to understand about me as the presenter and the customer's interest. I've got the notes about my call, and I can always come back in here and reference it. And then I've got the ability to send a follow-up email. So if I wanted to quickly follow up with the content that I presented in the meeting today, I've got my meeting follow-up template ready to go, and I can easily send an email out of the meeting. So that's about it for the basics of live pitch. Check out our other live pitch tutorials if you're looking for some more advanced features.